I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I want to thank everybody for the time they're putting into this plan. There's been a lot of time put in, a lot of effort put into this, not only in the last year, but in the last 31 years for myself, and many, many, many years for many other board members and town meeting participants and activists throughout town. And so before I read my letter, I just wanted to, give people a little bit of background. 1985, they tore Paragon Park down, and for 35 years, we looked at the remnants of Paragon Park while the town suffered an identity crisis. And it wasn't that long ago before we passed the Nantasket Beach Overlay District zoning. There was 22 empty storefronts between Water Street and Atlantic Hill and 13 empty buildings. And so we've come a long way since the Nantasket Beach Overlay District zoning was put in place. And I know a lot of people rail against it because of the development that's happening down here. But if you look at what the development that has taken place on Nantasket Beach has replaced, it's been a huge improvement. Where Berkeley Place is, we had Al Spaghetti House that sat dormant for 25 years, vacant. Next door to it, we had Kelly's Roast Beef and a dilapidated house behind it. That was torn down and 14 residential units were put up there. Berkeley Place, 5-story building. Then a few doors down, next to Schooners, there was the old bank building, the old Carnavelli restaurant that sat there vacant for a number of years. And through the Nantasket Beach Overlay District zoning, we were allowed to put 41 residential units there, Ocean Bay apartments. And then a little further down the beach, if you look at the old aquarium, we're seeing 21 residential units put there. And so I think that's a big plus. And if you go back 14 years and go down to the block where the hotel is, there was empty storefront where Apostles is, where the package store is, empty storefront where Crave is, vacant building, empty storefront, empty building right next door at 301 Nantasket Ave, a dilapidated 23-room rooming house that sat there for 25 years, dilapidated. A number of buildings where Mambo's was dilapidated and closed. So the work that has gone on up to this point has accomplished a lot of the things that we tried to accomplish. And so the idea of the Nantasket Beach Overlay District zoning was to create an opportunity for developers to be able to make some money, because a developer's not going to do a development unless they can make money, and to improve the property that we have here and make it a more vibrant place, walkable. And so if you look at that strip of road, Surfside, between Water Street and Anastas Corner, that whole road in that one stretch, there was about 13 empty storefronts there 15 years ago. And now we've got the HRA leveraged a $2 million grant from the state to get that road done over, got the post lighting in. It's really an attractive neighborhood where there's a lot of activity year round there. And that's the type of thing that we're trying to do. And so I think people lose sight of what the actual objective is, and it gets lost in the noise of what was shown as the draft urban renewal plan. And so I want people to understand, I'm in favor of the draft urban renewal plan, option 2 as it was presented. And I'm going to read my letter, then I'm going to go run through some slides. I'm going to tell you why, but I want people to also understand, just because I'm in favor of it the way it was presented, doesn't mean I'm not open to options of modifying that plan, moving buildings, and making the plan better. I think the plan struck a nice balance between what could be built on the HRA and what we're proposing to build. Because as a matter of right, with no special permit and no density calculations or not using the NBOD zoning, we could put 150 units of residential housing there with a large capacity commercial with hotel. That's as of right, without going to a flexible unit development to get the bonus units. If we went under the underlining zoning that's there, under flexible unit development, we could be upwards over 300 units there. If we use the NBOD zoning to the maximum, we could be well over 300 units there. We didn't propose that. And what I'm saying is I want people to understand that what we proposed took us years to get to the point to where we presented it to the public. And we presented a plan that we thought was pretty balanced. And right out of the gate, we took 24 units off of the 5th Street lot, and we dropped it down to 117 units. Then we took the smaller housing that people were calling Millionaires Row along Shore Drive off the plan because it was pushed back on that. But if you look at the design of the buildings, they're 4-story buildings and 3-story buildings, New England style, with a hotel and a conference center. And so I think the plan that we have in place is a good plan. Yes, it needs to be modified. Yes, we got to incorporate the things that the residents have shown us. They want the outdoor spaces. They want the performance spaces. They want the areas that people can come and congregate. But you also want to have a neighborhood where people live, spend time, spend money, bring their family. Right now, we have 3 months a year. If the tide's right and the sun's out, it's jammed. Other than that, we got the walkers that are going to the beach and people pull up to watch the sunrise or the sunset. So that being said, you know, I kind of rambled. I want to read my letter and then I want to run through some slides and I'll talk as I go. And if you get sick of listening to me, I don't know, tune me out. So I'm in favor of the draft urban renewal plan as it was presented to the public at the March 2023 meeting at Tull High School. The plan had parcels number 2 and number 4 as the main development parcels, totaling approximately 4 acres out of the total land area included in the project area. Over the years, the total project area has been described as 33 acres. It's 33 acres if you look at the total project area from Phipps to water, from ocean to bay. But if you look at, you incorporate the roads, the DCR property, the Bergen property, it whittles it down to about 13 acres of land that's actually under the HRA's control. And then when you take the beach parcel off it, it leaves us about 10 acres that's actually under our control for development. And that's parcels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6A, 7, 8, and 9. And I'll show you those in the plans. The two-way road design is a major part of this urban renewal plan. It will increase available open space by approximately 2 acres. With the two-way road plan, if we use 4 acres for development, we will actually gain back 2 acres of green space on the bay side. So it's a net loss of only 2 acres based on the draft urban renewal plan, the way it's presented. The HRA will be developing 4 acres with only approximately 2 acres open space. This plan would use 20% of the land area for development parcels while leaving 80% of the HRA property as park space and undeveloped parking area that will be a permanent revenue generator. Plan shows a mixed-use development consisting of 117 residential units of housing, 15% of which would be required to be deed-restricted affordable units. 15% of those residential units would be deed-restricted to be affordable. This is the only proposal in town that is providing any affordable housing for the town of Hull, and it's being written right into the urban renewal plan. I think people should take that into consideration. There's been a lot of work. We've got a housing production committee, affordable housing committee, all these committees working throughout town to accomplish all these goals. And this one board has the opportunity to accomplish many of the goals. The open space committee to accomplish many of the goals that these committees are committed to accomplishing. We can do it as a board. It's about coming together, making compromise, and finding common ground. The plan calls for a 65-room boutique hotel and a 5,000 square foot venue conference center. Boutique hotel and a conference center, those are more of a speculative development. That's going to take some doing. And I think we got to be flexible in how we draft the urban renewal plan. But I think the town could use the conference center because right now the hotel can't accommodate a large wedding or a large conference. And it would build off of what we already have here. Economically, this project, as proposed in the draft urban renewal plan, and these are my numbers, these aren't from a consultant, but I think my numbers are pretty good. I know people don't like to hear my numbers, but I think I got a handle on it. We'll bring approximately $1.2 million of much needed new tax revenue to the town each year. That'll be in the form of property taxes, excise taxes, rooms taxes, meals taxes, and sales taxes. It will bring approximately $5 to $7 million purchase price for the developable parcels, as well as millions of dollars of economic activity to the town of Hull every year. So the economic activity would be the money that those people that live there spend in town at the hardware store, the restaurants, the village market, the people that stay in the hotel at restaurants, shops. It's economic activity. That's the engine that we need to be driving down here. If you notice, our businesses struggle 8 months out of the year. The HRA property will be improved with a two-way road design. It will provide for a safer traffic pattern for motorists and pedestrians alike. Traffic plan provides a complete streets design with ADA compliant sidewalks and crosswalks throughout. It's an $8 million roadway project from Mezzomari all the way to Fifth Street. Right now, if we do nothing and continue on the path that we're going, we've got 1,600 feet of sidewalk that the HRA has to do something about on Hull Shore Drive extension. The sidewalk's crumbling. It has no curbing. It's a trip and fall hazard. It's a liability. If we do nothing, That's a $500,000 worth of sidewalk repair that needs to be done, that we're not taking into account. The urban renewal plan creates a series of improved parks that connect the town common, which is parcel 3 in the middle, to the bay side. So that'll be the connection from the ocean to the bay. Parcels 5, 6, A, 6, and 7 along the bay side will all remain open space, as well as parcel 1, which it's more than half open space and half parking lot, but it's open and used as a parking lot. And that's not including the spaces around the buildings where the development parcels are. It provides attractive amenities, gathering areas for recreation and special events while acting as a scenic vista and nature trail. Now you have a walkable neighborhood where people can walk from the hotel block down to the block at Water Street, around to different shops, maybe to the venue, different residences, a town common. You could have an event going on in the town common. You can walk out to the ocean. You can walk back across the common to the bayside. You got the gazebo. You got more areas for events there. That whole bayside parcel with the two-way roads will grow by 27 feet from Cumberland Farms heading south all the way to just about the gazebo. We pick up 27 feet of width. And these roadway improvements, that $8 million, that's going to provide for a lot of that park space improvement that we need. Otherwise, we'll be paying for it either through HRA revenues, bonding, parking, or asking the taxpayers of the town of Hull to pay for it. The way to get the public open space improvements is by developing a responsible, thoughtful urban renewal plan that incorporates the numerous studies and plans that have been done, including but not limited to the Unified Work Plan, the Housing Production Plan, the Nantasket Beach Revitalization Plan, as well as the many other plans that have been done over the years. Those are just to name a few in the last few years. I'm open to compromise as long as it's consistent with the mission of the Hull Redevelopment Authority. It's got to provide economic development to the town, create no housing choices with a 15% affordable component, and helps create year-round destinations such as a hotel and conference center. These are the list of the studies and reports that have been done over the years. We can spend hundreds of thousands or more dollars on more consultants to tell us what we should do. But we are the elected board, and we should be making a decision based on the information that we have at hand and the hard work that's been done up to this point. And let's get this show on the road. I'm going to switch presentations, if I may. Give me 1 second, bear with me. Yeah.
Some points in his life,
What?
he had multiple wives. And
Please,
more,
please,
multiple
shut.
Mr. Vermelia, please mute yourself.
generally, we refer to folks like
So, as I was talking about, that's the overall development area on the first screenshot.
here.
The black outside line, that
Right,
shows
but-
the 30
Bartley,
acres.
we're just seeing your email.
Yeah, we just see your,
All right, hold on.
yeah.
All right. That better?
No,
No, it may have been that you pressed like window or tab instead of whole screen.
Technical difficulty.
Susan, man, there you go. You're off now. Good. Take your time. Take your time. I'm glad I'm not having to do what you're doing.
All right. They come up?
Yeah. Yeah, you have
All right.
three images are on there now.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. So the top image, if you look at it, the black line around the outer edge, that's the overall HRA project area. It encapsulates DCR lands, private property, roadways, and everything. That's 33 acres. Move
Okay.
to the next slide. That has the parcel map. Parcel 1 is over here where my cursor is at 5th Street. That's where the parking lot is and the proposed park. Parcel 2, that's slated for development, residential development. Parcel 3, the town common with parking around it to service the development on parcel 2 and parcel 4. Parcel 4 shows mixed-use development, residential, and hotel and conference space. The bay side is all open, except for the corner of parcel 7 is designated municipal use. Municipal use would be decided by the town and endorsed by the HRA. Parcel 8 and 9, those are front parcels along the roadway. This whole strip along that roadway will grow by 27 feet in width, going southbound from the north end down towards Apostolus Corner. If you go back to the initial proposal, illustration option 1, it had housing on parcel 1, combination of townhomes, multi-unit buildings, 4 units per building, and there was condos and apartments here, with townhomes along the edge. After the first set of meetings, based on the public input, we eliminated that. We made parking down the 5th Street end, kept 192 parking spaces on the HRA property, generate revenue, and it would also be open to town residents with a sticker. And it also creates a number of spaces on the street on both sides of Nantasket, the new Nantasket Ave. The Bayside parcel shown here. As we scroll through these, I wanted to show some of the designs because I know there was a lot of talk about design. And so try not to look at this as this is what's being built, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we got to look at the plan as a whole and pick the things that work and make them work on the different parcels. How do we achieve the goals we want to achieve? Producing housing, affordable housing, workforce housing, more residential, some commercial. Based on the plan that we had, this here building shows 4 stories, first story being commercial, flood-proofed, with 3 stories of residential with mansard roofs. That's one of the buildings. You move to the next slide. This is on the corner of Water Street as it's shown, but again, these are interconnected. You can move stuff around. Look at it like Lego blocks. Look at the parcels and say, how do we make it fit? How do we make it work? Should the park in the middle be bigger? Should the development parcels be smaller? Should you spread the development out? You want a walkable area where people can walk from neighborhood to neighborhood along nice new streets, nice new sidewalks, handicap accessibility, nice new lighting with parking along the roads. If we do nothing, we're going to have a barren dirt parking lot that we're putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds for the next 50 years. So look at the design and say, let's find a way to make it work. These are the designs that we come up with. The designs themselves are good. Some people looked at this layout and said, wow, that's way too dense for there. Maybe you're right. Maybe we should cut this parcel down and make the common bigger, or split this parcel and have park space in the middle. Turn the buildings here, make this more green space here. There's ways to do it and accomplish the goals of more housing, more affordable housing, and more commercial development. They're the ones that get to decide. We are the board. So put your thinking caps on and say, how can we make this work? How can we make it come together? It's not about a number of units. It's about footprint of building. And then we can discuss about what works better for the town of Hull and what people think it works better. Should it be rental apartments, or should they be for sale condos, or a combination thereof? I have my own opinion. Dennis voiced an opinion last week. Me personally, from a town's perspective, financial perspective, if they're owned units, each unit is taxed individually. There's a high amount of taxes paid to the town based on individual ownership. But the flip side of it is apartments allows people to come and go, and they may be affordable. But either way, we'd be restricting 15% of the total units as deed restricted affordable, even if it was a mix of those. So if you look at the layout, this is showing scale of development. We could cut this parcel down, make this parcel bigger, or split it. There'd be plenty of areas. But we've heard a lot of information, a lot of proposals from a lot of people that want to see open space and want to keep it open space. I'm all for open space, but if that's 100% open space, it's going to be 100% open, barren space. And we're not going to accomplish any of the goals that were set out by the Housing Production Committee, the Economic Development Task Force, the Affordable Housing Committee, or the many goals and planning initiatives that this board has worked on over the years. Now, Dennis had talked about, multifamily housing, smaller scale. This was proposed for the Fifth Street end, but these types of buildings may be something that works instead of the types of buildings that were shown here. So there's different mixes that we can use here. Let's take the work that we've done and try to make it better and come up with a plan that says, hey, let's designate parcel 3 and parcel 5 as development parcels, or, cut parcel 3 down in size a little bit. Parcel 2 in size a little bit, that's a development parcel. Parcel 3 is actually the town common. Increase the size of the town common, or same thing with parcel 4. It's up to this board to make those decisions. So I think I've talked long enough, and I'm starting to beat a dead horse. So I thank everybody for their time. I am passionate about this. I've been working at it a long time. I believe we've come a long way, and we're very close. Last spring, I thought we were on the 20-yard line. Now I think we've been pushed back a little bit, but I think we can kick a field goal. So I really hope everybody buys in and works to come up with a plan that works for the whole town, provides economic development, provides housing, provides affordable housing, provides the economic growth and stimulus that this town needs to stay afloat. No pun intended. Thank you very much.